Hey everyone, Steve here from OpenZeppelin, and today I'm really excited to introduce the Contracts UI Builder. This is a new tool by OpenZeppelin that allows developers to build user interface forms for their contracts, whether they just need to test something out or share a form with someone else on their team for admin purposes. And it's really simple to use. First thing you do is go ahead and select your network. Right now we currently support EVM chains, but we'll have more in the future. I have a contract already deployed on the Sepolia testnet, which is what I'll be choosing. With each of these networks, you can actually customize these to use a custom RPC provider or a custom block explorer, which is used to pull the ABI from the contract. So once I've selected my chain here, I can just go ahead and paste in my contract address. And since this is a verified contract, it's going to automatically pull that ABI using block explorer APIs. Of course, if you haven't verified your contract, you can still paste in the ABI manually, and it'll be able to use that as well. And with the ABI, it'll be able to tell which functions are available to us, as well as the current state, which we can refresh here on the left side. So now we just go ahead and go to next. And from here, we can go ahead and choose which function we're going to build a UI form for. And I have two available. I have increment, which just continues to increase the number, or I have set number. So let's go ahead and do set number. Once I have set number, I can go ahead and customize different pieces of the form that will be available to the end user. And from here, I can say set number, something like that. I can change the description. And in here in the fields, we can customize how the user interacts with those fields. So for this particular function, it takes parameters of an unsigned integer of 256 bits or a number. And we can see here the field we can say is new number, and I can change the field type. And we can do things like use hard-coded value if we wanted to make it easier for people to use. So for instance, let's say you have a function that has kind of like a constant value that you always want put in, and you don't want them to have to manually enter that information. You can use that here, which is really handy. I think mine is good, so I'm going to leave that the way it is. Next, we have the execution method, and this is basically how someone can interact with this form, whether they connect their wallet or other options here, which we'll show you soon. So here we can actually add an EOA restriction. So if we wanted to only allow a specific address, we could designate that here. Now we'll clarify this is only restricting on the UI form level. It is not restricting on the contract level. So be sure to use proper access controls for your contracts. I'm going to allow any externally owned account to execute this. We also have the option to do OpenZeppelin relayers. So if you have an OpenZeppelin relayer set up, you can put in the relayer service URL and your API key and fetch the available relayers which can interact with your contract. And in the near future, we will support multi-sig configuration, which will be really nice to have. So like I said, I'm going to stick with the EOA. And finally, we have the UI kit. This is if you're using the externally owned accounts and you need to be able to connect a wallet. You can either use the OpenZeppelin custom setup that we have here, which is kind of this setup you see here in the top right corner, or if you want, you can use Rainbow Kit and customize it to your needs. At any point in the process of us customizing this form, we can click the preview form button here and look at our form and what the final result will be. And if we want, we can even test it out. I can go ahead and put in the number 30, execute transaction. I'm already signed in. And we'll have a complete UI here to show that the transaction is pending and if it's successful, and show the transaction hash. And whenever we're done with our preview, we can just click back to editor. So now that our form is complete, we can actually export this form, which is going to download it as a zip file for a Vite React project. Once we have that project downloaded, we can very easily install the dependencies, build it, and it'll be a functioning web app that we can either host or customize for future needs. Now, as you start to build more forms, we actually have a built-in local database that stores and keeps track of any of the contracts that you might be building. So you can see here I have this set number form that I just created, but I also have this other one that I didn't actually finish building. And at any point, I can actually download these as a JSON configuration file. And if I wanted to import that file, I can click this upload button, import that JSON configuration file, and it will repopulate all my forms and settings that I previously had. And so that is a quick summary of the Contracts UI Builder from OpenZeppelin. We're really excited about this product, and we could see it being very useful for not only for developers, but for teams who need to manage their on-chain infrastructure. So please give it a try at builder.openzeppelin.com and let us know what you think.